Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I am your host, Chelsea Wise, and I want to ask you a question. And this is, have you ever felt like you are speaking into a void whenever you market your business? Do you ever feel like you're just talking to anyone and everyone and no one at the same time? If this is something that you have felt either anytime recently or somewhere in the past, or maybe it's something you're feeling right now, I want to talk to you today about really identifying who it is that you're speaking to in your business and who it is that you are serving in your business. Now, for myself, I have reinvented myself and my business quite a few times, and it has always come down to whether or not it's successful is when I knew who it was that I was serving, who it was that I was marketing to, who it was that I was meant to be speaking to and working with at that time in my life and in my business. Now, by the end of today's episode, you are going to have a very clear idea of who it is that you're speaking to. And you're going to have this framework within to work with, right? And I'm going to give you my exact framework of how I have defined each of my ideal audiences, each of my target audiences, every time that I have reimagined my business or pivoted my business, right? Many entrepreneurs waste so much time and money trying to speak to everyone when it comes to their marketing. And this is because it can be so tempting to not want to exclude anyone from our businesses. Either we don't want people to feel left out, or we feel like if we put any type of boundary around who it is that we're working with, that we're turning people away and we're turning away potential income or potential profit. Now, while theoretically I understand this, from a marketing standpoint, it just becomes so overwhelming to try and attract everyone into your business, which is why it's so easy to burn yourself out marketing to the masses, right? And this is how you end up with really scattered marketing campaigns, and you really end up failing to drive any type of engagement because nobody feels like you're speaking to them. So there was a study done by HubSpot that was published in HubSpot in 2023 that showed that 63% of small businesses struggled to generate any type of lead due to the lack of clarity in their target audience. Now, if you want to call it a target audience, your ideal customer avatar, which is an ICA, or your ideal client, or, any of those things, all of those things mean the exact same thing, right? They're all basically talking about who it is that you're marketing to, who it is that you are serving with your business, right? So now that we've kind of cleared up that, I want to get back into a few more stats. There's also a loss of opportunities. According to Forbes in 2021, businesses with a well-defined target audience see anywhere from 20 to 30% increase in their customer retention rates because their marketing feels personal and relevant to the people that they are marketing to, right? According to Salesforce report, 66% of customers expect companies to understand their unique needs, but only about 34 feel that this expectation is even being met, which really highlights the importance of clarity and defining your audience. So what is the audience? Or what's the solution? Defining your ideal client is not just about narrowing down your audience. It's really about creating this clear and focused path forward in your business. Now, it can be very beneficial when you're first starting out to test out the waters in a lot of different areas in your business, right? So if you are a coach, maybe you are coaching, one-on-ones and offering group sessions and offering, just one-off sessions instead of just having like one thing that you're really known for, right? And there's power in that. There's power in learning what you're good at and, who it is that you like to work with. Now, for me, when I was first starting out as a photographer, I started I've shot a little bit of everything. So I have photographed newborns. I have photographed families. I have photographed kids. I have photographed high school seniors. I photographed weddings. I've photographed engagements, proposals, like all of the things. I've done events. I've done sports. I've done a lot of different things. And while I can do a lot of different things, I didn't love working with a lot of different things. Now, when it came to newborn sessions, there were some things that just didn't work for me, right? In my family. So one of the things with newborns is you never know when they're going to be born, right? So there's this like golden window of like 7 days that you want to try and photograph this newborn in. It's before baby acne comes in. It's while they're still sleeping most of the time, right? It's before, their skin gets all goofy and you have like 1,000 hours of editing, right? I didn't like not knowing when those sessions were going to be scheduled until like the week of, right? At the time when I was doing that, like I had pretty young kids at home, and that meant that I had to line up daycare and, you know, trying to set up daycare like last minute in our area, just it wasn't very feasible, right? And I didn't love that part of it. The other thing about newborns is you are in a very hot room for anywhere from like an hour to 3 hours, like bent over trying to hold these babies in these nice, neat little poses. And this is when more like post newborn stuff was like all of the rage. If I do newborns anymore, I am doing lifestyle sessions like here on out, because I don't love having all the like having to keep all of the props and all of the wraps. Like I have one tote of it, and that's all I have. Neutral colors, and some neutral colors that lean towards girls, some neutral colors that lean towards boys, and that's about it. But I didn't love the equipment that I had to have. I didn't love the setup that I had to have. I didn't have a dedicated studio, so I would pack up my car and basically move into somebody's house. Now, this was great from a marketing standpoint for newborns, because it was like, I will come to you. I will make it as easy as possible on you. Dad can go have a beer in the living room or watch the game, like whatever he wants to do. We'll pull him in for his photos and he can go do whatever he wants. Mom, if you want to go take a shower at your own bathroom while I take care of, pictures and all of the things, that's perfect. You can do that. Now, that's a way of marketing that towards that client, and it worked really well. But I didn't love having to pack up all of my stuff in the dead of winter and then bring it in and then haul it all back out. Like, it was just not a lot of fun. And so I had transitioned to families, and, there's a lot of money to be made in families. You have repeat customers every single year because, you get to watch these families grow over the years. And, I'm getting to a point right now where people, like kids that I had done like their newborn sessions and their like 3-month sessions and 6-month sessions, are like getting into high school and starting to like graduate. So it's like I've seen these kids grow up throughout the years, and it's a beautiful thing. But when it came down to it, I didn't love that not everybody wanted to be there to have their pictures taken. I didn't love that oftentimes Dad just didn't want to be there. And that was really frustrating to me. Didn't really love it. When I was photographing high school seniors, it was super, super fun, but it came down to a scheduling thing again for me. So I would have their session booked like months in advance. And then all of a sudden something would come up with sports and be like, oh, we have to schedule that, like reschedule that. Then these girls were just so hard on themselves, being, oh, I don't like the way I look here, and my skin looks funky here. And like, I did my best to make them as happy and as, love their images as best as they could. And I think I achieved that with most of my seniors, but it wears on you after a while, having these girls just nitpick themselves apart, and knowing that like they are so beautiful the way that they are, no matter the shape, the size, or anything. I mean, that's easy for me to say 10 years removed from high school, right? But that's hard for a high school senior to wrap her head around, that she's not fitting into this nice neat box that's being portrayed on social media, right? So I didn't love that part of it. And it wasn't in my photography career until I stumbled upon wedding photography that I fell in love with that type of thing, right? Now, I niched down a little further, but I loved weddings because they were scheduled months, if not a year in advance. There was a very, very rare occasion that it would get canceled last minute. 90% of the people are excited to be there and happy to be in front of a camera. I also was photographing things different and new every time. There was new decorations, new lighting equipment, or new lighting scenarios, right? Like I had to learn so much and be ready to adapt to all of these changes because you never knew what the weather was going to be like. Like there was no like rain checks on a wedding, right? You showed up and you shot in the rain, or you shot in 110-degree heat, or the snow or the frost. And it was beautiful because it pushed me to become a really, really talented photographer. And I loved that. And I still love it. I still love photographing weddings. And now, as I transition my business more into the educational side of things, I have had to, again, I've done a little bit of everything. I've coached photographers, I've coached men, I've coached women, like all of the things. And it's now to the point where I'm honing in on who it is that my ideal client is. So what are some of the benefits of speaking directly to your ideal client? So when you really know your audience's struggles, you get to craft solutions that feel almost tailor-made to them. And this level of precision is what makes your marketing resonate with them on such a visceral level. So, for example, if you are a fitness coach who targets postpartum moms and can address the specific challenges that they are facing, whether that is like regaining their confidence or offering, exercises that are going to help them with their pelvic floor, you're going to be speaking directly to the needs that they have instead of offering just a generic workout program, right? You get to be very, very clear on who it is that your program is made for when you have identified what their struggles and their needs are. Another thing that, a benefit of, defining your ideal client is that it really helps you to build this trust and this connection much faster than you ever would, because it makes your audience feel seen and understood when your messaging really aligns with what their needs are. And this really helps to build loyalty, and it makes them much more likely to choose your business over any other competitors. So this could be, for an example, you've got a wedding, two wedding photographers, and one photographer says, I will be your wedding photographer. Here are the dates that I have open, right? And the other photographer who specializes in elopements in national parks and loves to create content that speaks to, those people who love adventure and these like intimate, tiny little celebrations. If you are someone who hikes and loves the outdoors and backpacking, across the country, which photographer are you going to choose? One that happens to have your date open, or one that really understands your passion for the outdoors and shares that passion with you, right? And wants to help you create this special moment that's just between you and your fiance, right? Do you understand how, one is like, yeah, their date is opened and like they've got good pictures, but this one, like, their data is open and they know me and trust me, and like that connection is there. So there's, that building of trust and connection can happen so much faster when you can really nail down who your ideal client is. The other thing that you can do is you really avoid like burning out when you're working with clients who align with you. So when you're working with clients who share your same values and your same vision, it is so much more energizing and rewarding. This is kind of why I didn't love working with families, because so often I was working with dads who like just didn't want to be there. And that was such a like inconvenience in their schedule to have to get dressed up in this outfit that this wife picked out. And That really came down to marketing on my part for sure. But overall, I just wasn't loving working with those types of clients. And that burnt me out fast because I was booking a lot of sessions and shooting a lot of things, but I just came back from those interactions just feeling drained because it was doing everything in me to get people to smile, to get them to feel happy about it. And I don't know, if now I understand that this podcast is not all for photographers, but I do have a lot of photographers that listen to this podcast. But I don't know if you've ever felt this. I feel like I feed off of the energy of my clients. And very often, in wedding photography, I have to manage that energy and get it on the right, foot off the bat. But once, things are going and we're vibing and everything works, my job is just so much easier. And I can shoot a wedding for 12 hours, be on my feet running around. And by the end of it, all the adrenaline and everything kind of wears off. And my body is, I'm old and then I need Tylenol. But energy wise, inside my body, I just feel great and I'm excited and I cannot wait to get home and download images and go through them, right? When you can align your work with the things that just light you up, it is so much easier to, grind out those long hours and enjoy your work. Otherwise, you just burn out and you resent going in and doing anything or working on stuff because it doesn't light you up. The other thing, the next thing that benefit of identifying your ideal client is it really helps you to streamline your marketing efforts. So what do I mean by this? Essentially, when you're super crystal clear on who it is that you're talking to, you can focus your resources on the platforms, on the strategy, and on the messaging that is going to drive the best result. And you can do it over and over and over again. So there's this thing in marketing where there's two things. You can either say a lot or a little bit about everything, or a lot about a little bit. And the best marketers in the world are the ones that say that hammer in the points of a lot about a little, because you know exactly who it is that you're going to go to for this thing because you've seen it and heard it so many times, right? So this can be a few different things here when you're streamlining your marketing efforts. First off, if you are a fitness coach and you are sharing, fitness things and all the stuff. So whether it's, recipes or, short clips on how to, do a proper squat and form and all of the things, where is it that your ideal customer is hanging out? Are they hanging out on Instagram? Are they hanging out on Snapchat? Or are they on LinkedIn? You're going to have very different audiences. And if you're spending a ton of time posting, the perfect form for squats on LinkedIn, you might not be finding the right audience. Maybe I'm wrong, but my guess is it's probably not where you're going to find those people, right? The same is true for high school seniors. Are your high school seniors on Facebook, or are your high school seniors on Snapchat, or are they on TikTok? You got to figure out where it is that they are, where they're at, and where they're spending time. And that's where you can really start to put your efforts into your marketing. Now, along those same lines, another benefit is when you get crystal clear on who your ideal client is and who it is that you are serving with your business and what their needs are, you are able to better drive results. So you can see higher engagement rates, better conversion, and stronger loyalty when you're serving the people that you were meant to serve, right? I really believe that there is room for everyone at the table. Yes, there are a lot of photographers in the industry right now. It's pretty cheap to get a camera, and there are a ton of content creators out there. But when you can find your people, and really speak to their pain points or to them specifically, you will succeed. Okay, so this next little section, we're going to be talking about the 5 key questions that you need to answer in order to really identify who it is that your ideal client is. I will also have a download if you want to dig a little bit deeper into these 5 questions and have some more nitty gritty to it. All of this download also comes with ChatGPT prompts that you can use to dig a little bit deeper and think outside the box that maybe you hadn't come up with ideas that maybe you hadn't come up with before. So if you want to get that free download, you can grab it down in the link below. But I will be doing a little bit of an overview of it. So there are 5 questions that you have to be able to answer about your ideal client in order to get really clear about who they are. So I'll run through them quickly and then we'll dive a little bit deeper into them. So the first question is you have to know who they are. The next question that you have to understand is, what do they want? The third one is, what's holding them back? The fourth one is, where are they now? And the fifth one is, how do they make decisions? So those are the 5 questions. And each one of those we're going to dig a little bit deeper into. So for the first question, who are they? So this is going to include things like their demographics and their I can't say the word, but basically the psychology behind them. So your demographics is going to include things like their age, their gender, maybe their income status or their family status. Are they married? Are they engaged? Those types of things. Maybe they're recently divorced. That's what those are. So those are things that you have to determine there. So if you are a virtual assistant, are you looking for someone who is possibly a solo entrepreneur who is needing help with emails and scheduling? Or is it a small business owner who's looking for project management support? Those are 2 different things, right? Okay, so the next question that you're answering is, what is it that they want? So what are their aspirations? What are their goals? What is the dream outcome from them? So are they looking for, if you make soap, are they looking for luxurious homemade soap that they can give to loved ones? Or are they looking for some type of eco-friendly products that really align with sustainable lifestyle? Those are going to be 2 different products that you create or 2 different types of packaging that you would have. Maybe if you are a fitness coach, is your ideal client someone who's aiming to lose weight or build muscle, or are they wanting to create a consistent routine for their better overall health, right? Is it, a number on the scale that they're going for, or is it like the energy that they feel? Because those are 2 different ways that can approach your business and 2 different ways of approaching fitness. Now, the next question that you're going to ask is, what is holding them back right now? Why have they not achieved their goal just yet? So if you are a photographer, are they struggling to find a photographer who can really capture their whole story? Or are they looking for a photographer who's going to make them feel really comfortable with posing? Like, what is it that is holding them back? If you're a fitness coach, is it someone who really lacks motivation or is super busy with their schedule? Or is it because they're just uncertain of where to start? Those are 3 different things that could be holding them back, but what is it that's holding them back? And how can you put that into your marketing? Now, the next question number 4, is, where are they now? So what stage are they in and what do they need most from you? So again, we'll go back to that soap maker process. Are they, just curious shoppers at a farmer's market who are maybe discovering homemade products for the very first time? Or are they, loyal customers who are looking for a subscription offer that is going to send them stuff over and over again and they don't have to think about it, right? 2 different types of clients. Now, maybe you are a flower farmer. Are you selling to someone who is buying flowers for their very first major event? So maybe they are, a DIY bride. Or is it a florist who's maybe sourcing flowers for regular arrangements for weekly clients, right? 2 different types of clients. Where are they in the buying process? And then finally, the very last question that you have to ask is, how do they make decisions? So is it something that they value quality over price? Or is it something that they act on emotion or logic, right? So are they looking for proven testimonials and before and afters? Or are they relying on personal recommendations from people? Maybe they want something that is visually appealing or has natural ingredients. Or are they prioritizing affordability? Are they booking, you based on their emotions? Or do they need a week to compare multiple portfolios before they decide? All of this comes together in creating what's called your ideal client avatar, or your ICA. Now, this can be called a lot of different things, right? Basically, it is an ICA, or an ideal client avatar, is a detailed fictional representation of your perfect customer. So you can kind of think of this as creating a character maybe who embodies all of these traits and desires and challenges and preferences that kind of encapsulate the people that you serve with your business. Now, this character might not be a real person, but it can be built on a combination of real data and insights and understanding of your audience, right? So why is having an ICA really important? Like, why is it good to have this backstory for your person? Well, first of all, it really helps you to create that focus that we were talking about earlier. And that helps you to refine your marketing and your communication by being able to provide really, really, really clear instructions and marketing that speaks directly to your ICA. And instead of creating this generic messaging, you can really tailor your content to address those specific needs and aspirations that your ICA has. And when you do that, you really start to connect with them. And when you can craft your ICA and really humanize them as your audience, it allows you to write and speak and design in a way that really feels personal and engaging. And it builds that trust and rapport with potential and current clients. So when you know your ICA and your decisions in branding and product creation is all based around them, it becomes so much easier to create this strategy. You really start to understand what resonates with them and can really help to prioritize where it is that you need to dig a little bit deeper and where it is that everything can align with their preferences. So again, components of your ICA are going to be, you're going to be looking at their demographics and their psychographics and pain points and dreams and desires, which we all talked about earlier. Okay, so now once you've answered those 5 questions, right? And again, those 5 questions are who they are, what do they want, what's holding them back, where are they now, and how do they make decisions? When you bring all of that stuff together, kind of write almost a backstory for this ideal person that you would love to work with. And when you do that, I want you, as you're working through that, I want you to understand that your ICA isn't something that's static. It's going to evolve and grow and mature as you and your audience grows and changes, right? So the world is changing constantly. People's preferences are changing constantly. You are growing as an individual and as a business owner and as a maker and doer and all the things, right? There's new technology that comes out. There are, just different preferences in the world that are going to come out. And when you're defining your ICA, know that it's going to evolve over time. You're going to refine it a little bit more, or maybe it's going to shift differently. But essentially, you're going to create a story of this person. So I want to go ahead and share who my ICA is with you. So my ideal client is a woman, generally in her early 30s or late 20s. She probably has 1 or 2 kids. So you can kind of picture this. She's just dropped her kids off at school. She's balancing a coffee in one hand and her work phone in the other. She's currently working at a 9 to 5 and perhaps in a role that she, kind of fell into rather than chose. And deep now down, she has a dream of reigniting her passion for starting her own business. Maybe it's something really creative like soap making or coaching. Either way, she's driven and she's motivated and she's full of ideas, but she's a little bit overwhelmed on the how. She feels stuck and really kind of unsure about what her next steps are, especially when it comes to marketing and balancing this whole new adventure with her life that already feels really packed. What she craves right now is confidence and clear guidance and a supportive community that really understands her journey. She wants to feel seen and inspired and empowered to take the next brave step towards the life that she wants. Does any of this sound familiar to you? If it does, it means that my marketing is working. If you check some of the boxes, but not all of them, that's okay. You are still in the right place. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about some of the common mistakes that I see when I am working with my one-on-one clients and some of the mistakes that I want you to avoid when you are working on this process. So the mistake number one is being too broad and trying to appeal to everyone. So when you cast a wide net, results in generic messaging and really fails to connect emotionally with anyone. So instead of attracting clients, you kind of end up with just blending into the background. So this could look like a graphic designer who offers design services for all businesses, but might not attract specific clients compared to someone who specializes in branding for wellness photography. And the same goes for a baker. They could say, I bake cakes for any occasion. They might really struggle to connect with clients compared to someone who markets themselves as, creating beautiful wedding cakes with modern floral designs. Same is true for a fitness coach who advertises training for everyone. The next mistake number two that I see is skipping research and kind of just guessing on what your clients need. So once you kind of have clients, one of the best things that you can do is talk to them, after they've used your product or worked with you in finding out what it is that your product really is fixing and what that you could do to make it better. So this could be for a copywriter who's maybe assuming that, a small business is only caring about affordability. But once you really start to talk to them and understand what it is that they're looking at, they're actually looking for a faster turnaround time versus how much it's going to cost. So that can definitely help you with that. Then mistake number three that I see is creating an avatar without actually using it as your guide in your marketing. And we're going to dive a lot deeper into this in the next episode. But it is great to make an ideal client avatar or an ideal client blueprint or an ICA, any of those things, whatever you want to call it. You can put all the work you want into this, but without integration, it's just kind of becoming a theoretical exercise, right? So you really, really, really want to revisit and refine your ICA often and update it based on new insights or new feedback or maybe changes in your industry. Another thing that you want to do is make sure that you're continuing to do market research through surveys of past clients or interviews or even analyzing your competitors. Basically, whenever you create your ICA, this document, you're going to use it as a litmus test for all of your decisions. So does this align with what my ideal client values or needs? Very, very important. Okay, to recap what all we've talked about today, I want to first kind of recap why it is so important to identify who it is that you're talking to and who it is that you're serving in your marketing. First off, it makes creating content and messaging and branding and all the stuff so much easier when you know who it is that you are speaking to. Second of all, it is going to speed up that process of them trusting you and connecting with you and wanting to purchase with you. And next, it's going to help you retain clients and make them into repeat clients when they feel like they are known and heard and understood. Remember, there are the 5 key questions that you have to be able to answer about your ICA. And those 5 questions are: who are they? What do they want? What's holding them back? Where are they now? And how do they make decisions? To help you really work through all of that, make sure you grab your ideal client blueprint down in the show notes below. That document is going to help you work through all of those questions, give you lots of other questions to answer that kind of help answer the broader question. And it also includes some ChatGPT prompts to help you expand on that and to help you create that ICA and that backstory for your ideal client. So if you have not already downloaded that, make sure you grab it in the show notes below. Take 15 minutes and start working on that. That document is something that you are going to need before we dive into next week's document, where we really start to put all of those pieces together and make it into something that actually takes the next step forward, and not just thinking about stuff, but actually moving forward in your business. Remember, the more clarity that you have about your ideal client, the more confident you can build. Okay, I want you to remember that the more clarity that you have about your ideal client, the more confidently you can build a business that you love. Your dream clients are out there. It's time to go find them. All right, guys, I will see you in the next episode.